The alpha marked me by mistake a werewolf shifter romance. The night was cold, silent, and heavy with magic. In the kingdom of Varenwood, nights were never truly quiet. The wolves ruled here, not just with strength, but with ancient blood magic that had been passed down through generations like sacred fire. The forest surrounding the kingdom was alive with unseen spirits, whispering through the dark leaves and moving with the wind like invisible watchers. Tonight was special. Tonight was the blood moon ceremony, a ritual where young warriors and royal heirs proved their dominance, power, and right to lead their packs. It was also the night when fates were sometimes rewritten. The elders believed the blood moon could reveal true destiny. But sometimes destiny was not kind, and sometimes destiny made terrible mistakes. Far away from the royal arena, deep near the edge of the cursed forest, a young woman walked carefully through the shadows. Her name was Elira. She was not born into royalty. She was not a warrior. She was simply a healer who lived alone in a small wooden house built beside the forest path. The villagers sometimes visited her when their children were sick or when hunters returned wounded from battles with wild creatures. Elira had soft brown eyes, dark long hair tied loosely behind her back, and hands that always carried the scent of healing herbs. She was known for being quiet, kind, and strong in her own silent way. But tonight, something inside her chest felt wrong. The forest spirits had been restless all evening. The wind carried strange cries, like wolves in pain. Elira had tried to ignore it at first. She was not supposed to interfere with royal affairs. She was not important enough to know what happened inside the palace walls. But when she heard the spirit voices screaming her name in her dreams earlier that night, she knew something was coming, something dangerous. So she walked toward the forest boundary, even though her heart was beating faster with every step. Meanwhile, inside the royal arena, chaos was slowly growing. Warriors from rival packs were fighting under silver torches. Their claws glowed faintly with magic energy. Blood spilled onto the black stone floor, but no one stopped. The blood moon demanded strength, sacrifice, and dominance. Standing at the center of it all was Kaelin. Kaelin was the alpha prince of Varenwood. He was tall, powerful, and feared across many kingdoms. His black coat-like cloak moved behind him as if it had a life of its own. His eyes were golden, like burning sunlight trapped inside darkness. But Kaelin was not like other alphas. He carried a curse. The curse made his emotions dangerous. If he felt too much anger, his power could explode uncontrollably. If he felt sadness, his magic would weaken his control over his wolf spirit. His family had trained him since childhood to be cold, distant, and emotionally untouchable. Love was considered weakness for an alpha king, and Kaelin had spent his entire life trying to be perfect. Tonight he was supposed to win the final ritual battle. Winning would allow him to fully claim his position as future king. The elders watched him carefully from their stone seats, judging his movements, his posture, even the way he breathed. Kaelin fought with precision. He moved like a shadow through the battle circle, striking enemies without hesitation. His opponents fell one by one. The crowd cheered. The royal council nodded in approval, but deep inside Kaelin's chest, something felt uncomfortable, like his wolf spirit was restless. Like it was listening to something far away, something soft, something fragile. Elira heard the battle sounds as she reached the forest boundary. She should have stopped there. She knew royal battles were dangerous. She knew magic could spread beyond the arena during blood moon rituals. But then she saw something moving in the forest path ahead of her. A wounded wolf warrior collapsed onto the ground. He was wearing enemy pack armor. His breathing was shallow. Blood stained his silver fur. He was trying to crawl deeper into the forest as if he was running from something worse than death. Elira hesitated only for a moment. Then her healer instincts won. She ran toward him. "I will help you," she whispered, even though she did not know if he could understand her. She used her herbs and magic healing spells to slow the bleeding. The wolf warrior watched her with tired eyes. He tried to speak, but only weak growls came out. Alira did not notice the danger behind her. She did not notice the dark figure standing on the hill above the forest path, watching her, waiting. Inside the arena, Kalen suddenly felt pain, not physical pain, emotional pain. Something inside his chest pulled violently, like invisible chains tightening around his heart. He stumbled during his fight, which was something that had never happened before. The crowd went silent. Kalen's wolf spirit howled inside his mind. Mate. The word echoed in his thoughts like thunder. Kalen froze. That was impossible. He was not supposed to have a mate yet. Alpha princes usually chose political mates from noble families to strengthen alliances. But the pull he felt was too strong, too real. It felt like someone was calling him through the wind, through magic, through destiny itself. He turned his head slowly toward the direction of the cursed forest, and then he left the battle without permission. Gasps filled the arena. An alpha prince never abandoned ritual combat, but Kalen did not care. Something was calling him. And for the first time in his life, he felt fear. Alira was still healing the wounded wolf when Kalen arrived. He moved silently through the trees, appearing like a shadow from the dark mist of blood moon magic. When Alira looked up, she saw him standing there, tall and intimidating, eyes glowing golden in the moonlight. Her heart dropped. She knew who he was. Everyone in Varenwood knew the Alpha Prince. "You are not supposed to be here," Kalen said coldly. His voice was deep, controlled, but something inside it trembled. Alira slowly stood up. "I came to help someone." Kalen looked at the wounded wolf. Then he looked back at her, and then he felt it. The bond. It was sudden, powerful. Like lightning striking directly into his soul. His wolf spirit went wild inside his chest, screaming with recognition. "Mate." Kalen's control shattered for a moment. His magic surged outward. The forest wind stopped moving. Leaves froze in midair. Even the wounded wolf warrior whimpered in fear. Alira felt something burn on her shoulder. She looked down and saw glowing silver magic forming into a wolf-shaped symbol on her skin. She gasped. "What did you do to me?" she whispered. Kalen's voice was tight. "I did not do this." But he knew. The blood moon ritual magic had reacted to their presence. Or maybe something older than the ritual had been waiting for this moment. The marking was permanent. Alira was now bound to him as his fated mate, and she was terrified. "I don't want this," she said softly. "I don't want to belong to someone I do not know." Kalen's expression hardened, but inside his chest something hurt. "I did not choose you either," he said. The words felt like poison in his throat. But his wolf spirit howled in anger at his lie. Because deep inside, Kalen felt something terrifyingly new, protectiveness, possession, and something that felt dangerously close to love. The forest suddenly grew darker. The wind stopped completely. And from the shadows beyond the trees, ancient magic whispered their names like it had been waiting for them for centuries. Alira took a step backward. "What is happening?" she asked. Kalen did not answer, because he suddenly realized something worse. The marking was not just a bond. It was a trap, and somewhere deep inside the forest darkness, something old and powerful had just woken up because of them. Alira turned and started running. She ran deeper into the cursed forest, trying to escape the magic bond burning on her skin. But Kalen felt every step she took like it was his own pain. The bond was already connecting their emotions. And as he watched her disappear into the dark trees, Kalen whispered quietly to himself, "I have just marked the one person I may not be able to protect from myself." Then he followed her into the darkness, because destiny had already decided they belonged to each other. Even if destiny was wrong, the forest was not safe. Everyone in Varenwood knew that the cursed forest was alive with forgotten magic. Trees there grew taller than castle towers. Their roots moved slowly under the soil like sleeping snakes. Ancient spirits lived inside broken stones and old forgotten ruins hidden deep inside darkness. Tonight, the forest felt different. It was quieter, too quiet, as if something was watching Alira and Kalen from every shadow. Alira was running, her breathing was fast. Her heart was beating loudly inside her chest. She could still feel the burning mark on her shoulder. The wolf-shaped symbol glowed faintly beneath her skin like living silver fire. She hated it. She had always valued freedom. She had lived alone because she believed no one should control her life. But now, something invisible was connecting her emotions to a man she barely knew. Every step she took, she felt Kalen's presence behind her. Not physically, but emotionally. His feelings sometimes pushed against her own thoughts like silent pressure. It was confusing, it was frightening, and strangely comforting. Alira shook her head. She did not want to think like that. "I must escape," she whispered to herself. But the forest wind carried her words back to Kalen. Kalen was following her. He moved quickly through the trees, his black cloak blending with shadows. His wolf senses were stronger than normal because of the blood moon magic still flowing in the air. But inside his mind he was struggling. The bond was stronger than he expected. He could feel Alira's fear like cold water inside his chest. He could feel her confusion. He could even feel her anger directed toward him. It was painful. Kalen had been trained to control emotions. As an alpha prince, he was supposed to be powerful, cold, and unstoppable. But this bond was breaking his emotional walls slowly. He did not want to admit it, but part of him was afraid. Not of enemies, but of caring too much about someone he had not chosen. His father's voice echoed in his memory. An alpha king must never love too deeply. Love makes rulers weak. Kalen clenched his fists, but his wolf spirit disagreed. Mate, protect. Do not lose. The wolf inside him was calmer than his human mind. It accepted the bond naturally. It wanted to stay close to Alira. Kalen did not know if he hated that feeling or wanted to protect it. Meanwhile, deep inside the royal palace, another plot was slowly moving. In the highest tower room, Queen Morveth, the old royal witch, stood beside a window watching the blood moon in the sky. Queen Morveth was powerful and dangerous. She had ruled through hidden magic for many years, helping the royal family maintain control over rival kingdoms. Most people feared her because they believed she could see future events in dreams. Tonight, she was smiling. "So it finally happened," she said quietly to herself. The marking ritual had worked exactly as planned. The queen had not caused it directly. She had only influenced ancient magic patterns through forgotten spells hidden in royal rituals. The bond between Kalen and Alira was not random. It was designed long ago. A revenge spell created by forgotten moon priests who had once been enslaved by wolf kings. The spell was meant to weaken future alpha rulers by giving them emotional attachments to people they could not easily control. Love was powerful weakness, and power always feared weakness. Queen Morveth turned away from the window. "Let the young prince suffer," she whispered. "Pain creates better kings." Back in the forest, Alira finally stopped running. She reached a small clearing filled with glowing white flowers. The flowers were magical. They only grew where ancient spirits had once been buried. Alira knelt down and touched one of the flowers. She was tired. Her heart felt heavy with fear and anger. She hated the situation she was forced into, but she also felt something strange deep inside her chest. Kalen was not far away. She could feel his emotions through the bond. He was not attacking. He was cautious. Conflicted, Alira hated that she could feel his emotions. It felt like someone was reading her heart without permission. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, careful. Kalen stepped into the clearing. They looked at each other in silence for a long moment. The blood moon light made Kalen's golden eyes shine brighter than usual. "You should not run alone in this forest," he said quietly. "I should not be bound to someone I do not trust," Alira replied. Kalen did not argue. Instead, he said something unexpected. "I understand." The honesty surprised Alira. Most royal alphas were arrogant. They demanded obedience. They forced mates to follow their rules. But Kalen looked tired, like he was carrying a heavy responsibility he never wanted. "I did not choose this bond," Kalen said. "But I also cannot ignore it. If you are hurt, I feel it. If you are afraid, I feel it too." Alira looked away. "That is not freedom," she said softly. "No," Kalen said. "It is not." Silence followed. Wind moved gently through the white flowers. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The emotional tension between them was strong but fragile, like glass about to break. Finally, Alira spoke. "Will you force me to stay with you?" Kalen shook his head slowly. "No, but I cannot promise I will stop protecting you." The honesty in his voice made Alira feel something painful in her chest. She hated that she did not fully hate him. Suddenly, the wind changed. The flowers around them began to shake violently. Alira felt fear surge through the bond from Kalen. His wolf senses were warning him about danger. Then dark smoke rose from the ground, slowly, like something waking up underground. From inside the smoke, glowing red eyes appeared. Ancient forest spirits were becoming corrupted by dark magic. Their voices whispered in broken voices, speaking in forgotten languages. Bonded souls chosen by curse, a sacrifice must be paid. Alira stepped backward. "What is that?" she asked. Kalen's expression turned serious. "I think the forest is not happy about our bond." The spirits began moving closer. Kalen transformed partially into his wolf form. His claws extended slightly. His golden eyes became sharper. He stood in front of Alira, protective. But then something worse happened. The ground beneath them cracked open, and a deep, ancient voice spoke from beneath the earth. "Two souls bound by forced destiny will feed the darkness." Alira felt sudden pain in her shoulder where the mark was glowing brighter. Kalen felt the same pain inside his chest. The bond was being attacked by something older than wolves, something hungry, something powerful. Alira grabbed Kalen's arm without thinking, and for the first time she did not feel fear of the bond. She felt determination. "If we are trapped in this bond," she said, voice shaking but strong, "then we will survive it together." Kalen looked at her. Something soft changed in his expression. Hope. But before he could respond, the ground exploded with dark magic energy. The forest spirits screamed, and a giant shadow creature slowly rose from the earth like a forgotten nightmare, awakening after centuries of sleep. Kalen realized something terrifying. The bond between them had just attracted something ancient, something that wanted to destroy emotional bonds between living beings, and now it was looking directly at them. Hungry. The darkness inside the forest was growing, not just in the air but in the ground, in the wind, and inside the hearts of those who carried magic. The ancient shadow creature had risen slowly from beneath the earth like a nightmare waking after centuries of sleep. Its body was made of dark smoke and broken light. Its eyes glowed deep red, filled with hunger and anger toward living magic. It hated bonds. It hated love. Because love was something it could never feel. Kalen stepped in front of Alira immediately. His wolf instincts took control. His body shifted slightly as golden magic energy surrounded his hands and claws. He was not fully transformed, but he was ready to fight. Behind him, Alira was breathing heavily. Her heart was beating fast. She could feel Kalen's determination through the emotional bond between them. It was strange. Even though she had tried to escape him earlier, now she felt safe standing behind him. She did not understand why. Maybe because he did not treat her like property. Maybe because he was willing to stand between her and danger. The shadow creature spoke in a deep, echoing voice. "Fated souls, your bond feeds the old magic." Kalen tightened his jaw. "We did not choose this." The creature laughed softly. The sound was like stones breaking under pressure. "All bonds are chosen by fate," it said, "but fate can be rewritten through pain." Then it moved forward, fast, Like wind turning into storm, Kalen reacted instantly. He jumped forward, claws glowing with golden wolf magic, and struck the creature's body. The impact created a shockwave of dark and golden energy mixing together. The forest trees shook violently. Alira used her healer magic instinctively. She raised her hands and created soft silver light shields around them. She was not trained as a warrior, but she was strong in protective magic. Kalen felt her magic support him through the bond. It made him stronger, but it also made him more afraid, because he was starting to depend on her strength emotionally and magically, and alphas were not supposed to depend on anyone. Far away, inside the royal kingdom capital, political tension was rising. The royal council was meeting inside a large stone hall decorated with wolf statues and ancient war banners. King Kalos, Kalen's father, sat on the throne chair, looking very serious. "We must control this situation," one council member said. "The Alpha Prince has broken ritual rules. He abandoned Blood Moon combat. That weakens our political power." Another council member nodded. "The girl is from low social rank. The bond will cause instability." King Kalos remained silent for a long time. He was a powerful and strict ruler. Finally, he spoke. "Let them fight destiny," he said calmly. "If my son cannot control his emotions, then he must learn through suffering." The council members agreed quietly, but Queen Morvith was standing near the shadows of the hall. She smiled secretly, because suffering was exactly what she wanted. Back in the cursed forest, the battle against the shadow creature became harder. The creature was not trying to kill them immediately. It was trying to break their emotional connection. It attacked Alira's fears. Images appeared inside her mind. She saw herself alone forever. She saw Kalen becoming cold and powerful while she became weak and forgotten. She felt emotional pain through the bond. Kalen felt it too. He suddenly turned toward her. "Alira, stay focused," he shouted. But Alira was shaking. The creature's magic was trying to make her believe she was nothing but a mistake in Kalen's destiny. She almost believed it. Almost. Then she remembered something Kalen had told her earlier. He did not choose her either, but he did not reject her life. Alira stood straighter. "I am not a mistake," she said loudly. Her silver magic power grew stronger. The bond between them reacted to her confidence. Kalen felt strength surge through his body. They attacked together. Wolf magic and healer magic combined into one powerful wave of energy. The shadow creature screamed as its body started breaking apart. "You cannot defeat destiny," it screamed. Kalen replied coldly, "Then maybe destiny is wrong." With one final attack, they destroyed the creature. Dark magic smoke scattered into the wind. Silence returned to the forest. Only their heavy breathing remained. Alira slowly sat down on the grass because she was exhausted. Kalen sat beside her but kept a small distance, respecting her personal space. For a long time, neither spoke. The emotional tension between them was deep but soft. Finally, Alira spoke. "Why did you follow me?" Kalen looked at the moon. "Because the bond hurts me when you are far away," he said honestly. "But also because I was afraid you would face that creature alone." Alira did not respond immediately. She was surprised by his honesty. Most powerful alphas would hide emotions. Kalen was different. He was struggling between duty and feelings. "You do not want this bond either," she said quietly. "No," Kalen said, "but I want to understand it." Alira looked at him carefully. "You are not like other royal wolves," she said. Kalen smiled slightly. "That is what my father fears." Suddenly, Kalen's body froze. Pain exploded inside his chest. Alira felt it too through the bond. She gasped. "What is happening?" Kalen's golden eyes changed color slightly, becoming darker. "The curse," he whispered. The emotional stress of battle had weakened his curse control. His wolf spirit was becoming unstable. He started breathing heavily. Alira acted quickly. She placed her hand gently on his chest. "I am here," she said softly. She used healing magic, not to heal physical wounds, but to calm emotional magic energy inside him. Kalen closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt safe while being emotionally vulnerable. It terrified him, because alphas were trained to fear vulnerability. Meanwhile, deep underground, something else was awakening. The ancient god of emotional pain, the one who fed on broken hearts and broken promises, was still alive. And it was very happy, because Kalen and Alira were growing closer emotionally. Closer bonds meant stronger emotional suffering when they were separated, and separation was coming, because royal politics were already moving against them. Suddenly, horse riders appeared outside the forest clearing. Royal soldiers wearing black armor surrounded them. One soldier stepped forward. "By order of the royal council," he said loudly, "the Alpha Prince must return to the capital immediately." Kalen stood up slowly. Alira stood beside him. The soldier continued. "The council demands the removal of the bond partner until political evaluation is complete." Alira felt fear inside her chest. They wanted to separate her from Kalen. Kalen felt anger rising inside him. His wolf spirit growled inside his mind, but he controlled it. Because acting violently would only make things worse, he turned to Alira. "I will return," he said quietly. Alira nodded slowly, but inside she felt heartbreak growing, because she was starting to care about him more than she wanted to admit. Kalen stepped closer to her. Very slowly, then he said something unexpected. "I will come back for you." The emotional bond between them glowed brighter, but the soldiers were watching. Politics was stronger than love in royal kingdoms. Kalen left with the soldiers. Alira watched him disappear into the dark road leading to the capital. She whispered softly, "Do not forget me." The royal capital of Varenwood was shining under cold silver moonlight. Tall stone towers rose high into the sky like silent guards watching the kingdom. Guards walked along the castle walls with burning torches. But tonight, the atmosphere inside the capital was not peaceful. War was coming. Not with swords and armies yet, but with politics, magic, and emotional power. And somewhere inside the royal palace, Queen Morvith was preparing something very dangerous. Something that could break the bond between Kalen and Alira forever. Kalen stood inside the royal throne hall. The hall was filled with royal council members. Ancient wolf statues watched from the walls. Long red carpets stretched from the entrance to the throne where King Kalos sat silently. Kalen looked tired. He had returned to the capital because royal soldiers had ordered him to. But he did not come alone in his heart. He could still feel Alira through the emotional bond. She was far away, but she was worried. He could feel her fear like cold wind inside his chest. King Kalos spoke first. "You have caused political chaos, my son." Kalen remained quiet. "The kingdom expects you to marry someone from noble bloodlines," the king continued. "Not a healer from the forest." Kalen's jaw tightened. "She is not just a healer," he said calmly. "She is my chosen partner through magic destiny." The council members whispered angrily. Queen Morvith stepped forward from the shadows. "Destiny can be changed," she said softly, "especially when destiny is forced." Kalen immediately felt danger from her presence, because he knew she was behind the ancient curse magic. "What do you want?" Kalen asked. Queen Morvith smiled. "I want you to rule without emotional weakness." She turned toward the king. "Separate the bond partners. The girl will be taken to the sacred tower. There she will be protected and isolated." Kalen felt anger explode inside his chest. Isolation was not protection, it was punishment, but he stayed calm. Alphas were trained to hide emotions during political meetings. However, inside his mind, his wolf spirit was roaring with rage. "Protect her. Bring her back. Do not lose mate." Meanwhile, Alira was not in the capital yet. She was still near the forest border, waiting for news. But she was not alone. Royal guards had come to escort her to the capital under protection order. Alira knew it was not protection. It was control. As she rode inside a royal carriage, she felt emotional pain through the bond. Kaelin was angry, very angry. She could feel his wolf spirit moving restlessly. She placed her hand on her chest and whispered, "Stay calm." She did not know if he could hear her. But the bond sometimes carried emotional feelings, not only thoughts. At night, Elira was taken to the sacred tower inside the capital. The tower was very tall. Its windows showed the entire kingdom like a map of lights. The tower was used for noble prisoners, political hostages, and sometimes people who were considered dangerous to royal politics. Elira was given a large room. She was not locked physically, but guards stood outside every door. Isolation was the real prison. Kaelin secretly visited her that night. He used shadow magic to avoid guards. He climbed the tower wall quietly like a wolf moving through darkness. When he entered her room, Elira turned quickly. They stared at each other. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Elira ran toward him and hugged him tightly. It was emotional, not romantic in dramatic way, just relief, relief that he was safe. Kaelin closed his eyes briefly. "I thought they would hurt you," he said quietly. "I thought they would never let you return," Elira replied. The emotional bond between them glowed softly, not with power, but with comfort. Kaelin told her everything, about Queen Morveth's plans, about the political pressure, about the possibility that they might be forced apart permanently. Elira listened silently. Then she spoke. "I do not want to be a queen if it means losing freedom," she said. Kaelin looked surprised. Most people wanted power. Elira wanted freedom. Kaelin understood that, because he also wanted freedom from royal expectations. But he was still responsible for his kingdom. That was his emotional conflict, love versus duty. Suddenly, the tower lights began to flicker. Dark magic energy spread through the air. Kaelin immediately turned alert. "Something is wrong," he said. Elira felt it too. The emotional bond between them started hurting slightly, like someone was attacking it with magic energy. Queen Morveth had started the ritual. Deep inside the royal palace courtyard, Queen Morveth stood inside a magic circle drawn with ancient symbols. She was performing a separation ritual. The ritual was not violent. It was emotional magic. It attacked emotional bonds between people. The goal was to make Elira and Kaelin feel emotional distance from each other until their bond weakened and broke naturally. Because forced separation is stronger when emotions slowly fade. Inside the tower, Elira suddenly felt sadness. Not her own sadness, Kaelin's sadness. He was feeling pressure from his father, from the kingdom, from royal expectations. Elira grabbed his hand. "I will not leave you," she said firmly. Kaelin looked at her. "You cannot fight the kingdom alone," he said. "I am not alone," she replied. "You are with me." Kaelin felt something warm inside his chest, hope, but then royal soldiers started climbing the tower stairs. Queen Morveth had ordered them to take Elira away. Kaelin transformed partially into his wolf form, his claws extended, his eyes glowed gold. "I will not let them take you," he said quietly. Elira held his arm. "No violence," she said. Kaelin hesitated, because she was right. Violence would only make political conflict worse. Instead, Elira made a decision. She walked to the tower balcony and spoke loudly to the soldiers below. "I will not hide like a prisoner," she said. "If the kingdom wants me, then I will face them as an equal." The soldiers were shocked. Royal women were usually expected to obey quietly, but Elira was different. She was free spirit. King Kalos arrived personally after hearing the news. He looked at Elira carefully. "You are brave," he said, "but bravery alone cannot rule a kingdom," he continued. Elira replied calmly, "I do not want to rule the kingdom." She turned toward Kaelin. "I only want to live freely with the person I choose." The emotional bond between her and Kaelin glowed brighter. Even the soldiers could feel it. Queen Morveth realized her ritual was failing. Because love was not weakening, it was growing stronger. And emotional magic cannot break mutual choice. Only fear can, but Alira and Kaelin were no longer afraid. King Kalos finally made a decision. "Very well," he said. "You may stay together. But you must prove your bond is strong enough to protect the kingdom." He gave Kaelin a royal sword, a symbol of future kingship. "You are not only choosing love," the king said. "You are choosing responsibility." Kaelin accepted. Then he turned to Alira. "Will you stand beside me as equal partner?" he asked. Alira smiled softly. "Yes." Months later, they ruled together. Alira became a healer queen who helped common people. Kaelin became a king who ruled with both strength and compassion. The emotional bond did not disappear. But it was no longer a curse. It became a choice.